Hello guys, good afternoon and welcome back. Today, right now, we are going to be going over our ACT questions of the day from this past week. I hope everyone's doing well. If you got your materials, something to jot down the notes with and go through these problems with me right now, then that would be great. We're going to start off with the first question. And just while people are getting time to come in and get the materials and everything, I do want to point out, guys, that these questions are official released ACT practice test questions, or I should say that differently. I should say that these are official test questions that were given on a particular test date in the past. So these are released actual official ACT test questions that students once answered on a real ACT exam day. Like, so these are legit for real questions, similar to what you would see when you take your ACT coming up whenever you take it. So question one from this past week, it says Marcus's favorite casserole recipe requires 3 eggs and makes 6 servings. So right off the bat, I kind of just notice here that this is going to be a ratio, a proportion, proportional relationship kind of question, which means it falls in that 40 to 43% of the test that they call integrating essential skills. Guys, it's 6th through 8th grade math topics, but you just have to remember it. If you're a high school student, it might have been a while. You may not be using these skills on a daily basis. So just kind of remembering those things from 6th through 8th grade and being able to set them up and solve them quickly is what you need to do. And that's 40 to 43% of every single ACT math test. So let's jump right in for this one. It says 3 eggs makes 6 servings. So right off the bat, I know I'm going to be talking about eggs and servings, and I'm setting that up as a ratio. And I'm just doing some labeling so I can keep my problem straight. So eggs, 2 servings. The recipe says 3 eggs to 6 servings. Okay, so if you notice right off the bat, that's half, right? Half of the servings will be for eggs. Look, 3 is half of 6. So if you notice that right away, that's going to be nice. If you don't, that's okay. You can just solve the problem out. Marcus will modify the recipe by using 5 eggs and increasing all of the ingredients in the recipe proportionally. And I kind of got ahead of myself, but look, it actually has the word in the problem, proportionally. So we know we have to solve a proportion, or at least reason proportionally through this thing. So it won't make sense at all, right? What is the total number of servings the modified recipe will make? It would be ridiculous for it to make 6 servings when we know 3 eggs makes 6 servings. So let's just straight up eliminate the ridiculous answer, the distraction, just get rid of it, okay? So we know Marcus is going to be using 5 eggs. And there's your proportion. One ratio equal to another ratio is your proportion, right? But we want these ratios to be equal, so you can think of it like equivalent fractions. This is a half. I want this to be a half. So that means my bottom number would be 10. So I think that's the easiest way to do it, to just know, hey, we're looking for equivalent fractions. But if you need to solve the proportion, like if you just didn't catch that, then you would do 6 times 5 is 30, divided by 3 would be 10. Either way, your answer is C, 10. And this is, once again, an integrating essential skills problem, 6th through 8th grade math content. Okay, let's take a look at the next problem. So for our second ACT question of the day for this week, we have the 35-member History Club is meeting to choose a student government representative. The members decide that the representative who will be chosen at random cannot be any of the 3 officers of the club. What is the probability that Hiroko, I think that's how you pronounce that, who is a member of the club but not an officer, will be chosen? So here we have a stats and probability question. We need to calculate the probability that Hiroko will be chosen. So remember, probability is the ratio of what we are desiring, what we're looking for, what we want out of the total. Okay, so now let's think about this. It's asking what is the probability that Hiroko will be chosen? Well, that's what we desire, and there's only one Hiroko. Okay, so we're going to put what we desire on top, and then the total amount of options is on the bottom. How many total options do we have? Well, there's 35 people, but then it says it can't be any of the officers, it can't be any person that's already in office. So we want to do 35 minus the 3 officers. That'll leave us with the total possibilities we'll have. 35 minus 3 is 32. So the probability that Hiroko will be chosen is 1 out of 32, which is K. So once again, the probability is the ratio, the fraction of what you're looking for, your desired outcome, that's your top of the fraction, your desired outcome over the total possibilities of outcome. Okay, let's go on to the next question of the day from this past week. Here we have an equation. This is one of the problems from algebra and functions. You might look at this question and think, oh my goodness, they have variables in the exponent place, and doesn't that mean I'm going to have to use a log to solve this, or logarithmic functions? And the answer is no. Like, pay attention to what's going on here. Notice on both sides of the equal sign, there is a 2 for the base. I have 2 as the base raised to the power 2x plus 7. And then on the right side, we have 2 as the base with the exponent of 15. So whenever you have an equation that's simplified like this, where you just have those 2 exponential functions set equal to each other, if the bases are the same, then that means you can just set the exponents equal. You can just set that exponential part equal to each other. So we can say 2x plus 7 equals 15. And then now you have a basic 2-step equation to solve. Okay. And this is how I would solve it if I didn't have any answer choices to choose from, and I knew exactly what I was doing math-wise or algebraically. So that's what I would do. Just go ahead and solve this for x, subtracting 7, 2x equals 8, and then divide by 2, and x is 4. Ignore my handwriting. Okay, that's what I would get if I was taking this test and they did not give me answer choices and I knew exactly what to do. I just jumped right in and solved it. Now, what if you saw this problem and you were completely intimidated and you thought, oh no, I don't have a clue what to do? That's okay. You can still solve this problem and get the correct answer, even if you didn't know the algebra to do this. You know why? Because you have the answer choices. They're right here waiting for you. It's asking you to find the value of x. So you can literally take these answer choices, substitute them in for x. Okay. Now, when I don't have a clue about something, I start with C and I substitute that in. Now, we already know C is wrong, but I'm just going to show you this anyway. If I don't have a clue, I would type this in using my calculator. I would type it just like I see it, right? Both sides. And I'd probably do this side first to go ahead and get that number, because I only need to do that one time. I only need to type that in one time. So I'm going to show you on my Casio Prism, which is one of the calculators I strongly recommend that you get for the ACT. But I would type this 2 to the 15 in first, get that value, and then I would type this side in, substituting 11 in for x and seeing if it matches. Of course, I know it's not going to match, but I'm going to show you from there how I make a decision to go down to the 4 and prove that that's the right answer. And you can get all of this done in less than a minute, so you'll be on pace and still get the answer to this question right, even if you didn't remember the algebra or if you had not ever been taught the algebra for this question. So let's hop over to the calculator. All right, and let me just get all of this cleared out. Okay, just get my mouse. All right, so good. We are here. And remember, it was 2 raised to the 15th power. Hit execute, and that's the number, 32,768. And now I'm going to plug in the other side. I have 2. I'll raise that, and it's 2x plus 7 is what it was. So that'll be 2 times x, which we were plugging in 11 for, plus 7. And I hit execute. You see that is way too big, extremely too big. So then I know, oh, it's not 11. Let me go down to the next option instead of going up in those answer choices. The other numbers, D and E, they were bigger than 11. And I know if I put something in bigger than 11, it's going to get even bigger. I'm looking for 32,768. So now I'll do 2 raised to the 2 parentheses and plugging in 4 this time, plus 7, execute, and boom. There's my 32,768 that I was looking for. And now I know that the answer is B, 4, even though I didn't know how to work out that problem. Okay, so I just want to stress to you guys, if you know good test taking strategies, then you can get to the right answer quickly, even if you aren't that strong in math. It's okay, right? We can show you how to get to the right answer if you're using the right test prep program and the right test taking strategies for the ACT. All right, so let's go back. We have one more question from this week. Let's do that one. And guys, let me know if there are any questions at all about what you are viewing while I'm going through these problems from this week. If you have questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll respond to you while we go over these. And if you're getting any value out of this review today and the past few weeks or and from this segment, let me know that as well. So I know like, hey, this is useful, it's beneficial, keep doing it. Just, so I know, guys. All right, and if there's anything you'd like to add, any other feedback, any other resources you'd like to see provided in the group or on the channel, then let me know. All right, so let's go to the last question for today from this week. So we'll see on this question, it says, let the function f be defined as f of x equals 5x squared minus 7 times 4x plus 3. What is the value of f of 3? Okay, so you just need to remember from algebra that this is saying what's the value of the function when you replace x with 3. Like they literally took the x out and put a 3 in, and that's what you literally need to do too. Take the x out and put a 3 in. Okay, and you could do this by hand, or you can use your handy dandy calculator, and we can type all of this in at one shot, replacing the x with 3s, hit execute, and get our answer, which is what I would do. Of course, you can do it by hand, but just to avoid careless errors in your arithmetic with positive and negatives, and just different things because you're taking the test, you might have some anxiety. It might take you longer by hand. You might want to check it. Just do it all at one time by using your calculator. You can save time, get the right answer, and move on. So let's jump back over to the calculator one last time for today's live, and we are going to work this out. Let me just copy this down so I can see it when I get to the other screen. 5x squared minus 7 times 4x plus 3. Guys, don't judge me, my handwriting is terrible on here. I so need to get like some sort of stylus or whatever. I need to upgrade my technology because I am using just my MacBook and the trackpad and my fingers, so I guess my handwriting is not that bad given the circumstances, but it could be a lot better. So anybody wants to donate to the cause, to me upgrading my technology, that would be wonderful. All right, flipping on over here. So I'm going to type this in. We need 5, and then instead of x, we're going to do 3 because it's an f of 3, and you want to make sure you put this in parentheses. It's at squared, so we're squaring it, minus 7. It had a parenthesis, we put a parenthesis, then we have 4. Now, because we are inputting an x, we're going to do parenthesis again, and notice how it color codes it. I love it. Close parenthesis, now plus 3, and closing off the blue parenthesis. And that's everything that we had in our problem. We execute, and it's negative 60. And then we just go back and see which answer choice was negative 60. That was J. That's J. And look, I don't have to worry about it. Like, that was really quick. So it shaves off some time, some seconds that you can use for a more difficult problem. So why not do that? Okay. So guys, I hope that you have enjoyed today's Freeview Friday, our review of the ACT questions of the day from this past week. And all of the questions from this week were centered on math. We saw in this review integrating essential skills. We saw statistics and probability problem, and then we saw 2 functions and algebra type problems. Now, guys, if you would like an ultimate checklist of all of the ACT math topics that are on the ACT math exam, then just use the link that I have posted below. It will take you to, this is a free resource, a free download. It includes a video training walking you through the checklist and how to use it to study and all of that. So please check that out if that will be helpful for you, that list of everything you need to know from a math standpoint on the ACT. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you here next week for Wednesday's training, and then on Friday when we go over the ACT questions of the week. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful weekend.